Hello and welcome to Spring Commander Forged Alliance. We are in the last games of this best of 15 tourney to decide who is the top player on FAF currently. It was a very one-sided affair until Zock got to play some land maps. And not surprisingly, it's EEF on EEF because we did see the one thing that we did see about factions. Actually, multiple things we saw about factions in this tourney. One is that Seraphim is an absolute must on many island maps. And the second is that UEF absolutely rules land. Not surprisingly, both players choosing UEF on this map. To recount, it is now 7-5 in favor of Blackheart. Here he is a white horse. And Zock, who has always been orange throughout this tourney. I'll speed this up. I'll put all these into a single video. Basically, Zock needs to win the next 3. They're all going to be on rivers. And Blackheart needs to win 1 out of 3 to claim the championship. And they're talking in German here. Pin is good and locked ein Bissel. What's Bissel? That's a vacuum cleaner. And Bishkin or something. And then they start talking English for a while, and yeah, Germans understand. This is definitely a German game. German-dominated game. Incidentally, these two players are also involved in a different final in the 1800 Voice of Reason tourney. Oh, interesting, Zock on second land, third air. Is that what we're going to see here? Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Third air from both players. Second air is probably the most common way to go on this map. Also, I have got to apologize, last 2 videos I did have some audio issues. They should be fixed. Hopefully this is loud enough. Just trying to get a better audio setup. And when you buy a preamp online for your new microphone, it's not always in working condition. I think you guys saw that in the last 2 videos. So don't blame me, blame the people who sold me the preamp. A lot of power for Zock. I think it's safe to say both of these builders are probably so good. Okay, this is going to be critical. That engineer. Yeah. It's a fight over the middle, and we now see some air. Blackheart. Interceptor. Both players scout interceptor. Nobody's going to take the risk with the bombers. This engineer trying to steal a little bit of mass for Zock. Unable to do so. Killed. Blackheart with the first victory here. Is going to get a bunch of reclaim that Zock will not. Also, we got to look. 2 engineers in the back, 4 Blackheart on the expansion. Man, Rivers is such a great map. I actually know what's going on compared to the previous few maps, Point of Reach and Niflheim and that other green map. That reminds me that I have poor memory. It appears that here Blackheart running away, he only grabbed a few of the wrecks. And will this engineer actually survive? That Snoop got killed. Oh, a couple nice dodges. I think it should be a victory eventually for Blackheart, but he did lose the engineer. Let's check out the reclamation numbers. 1600 for Blackheart. Zock is at only 900. In terms of power, Blackheart significantly ahead. Neither player has the Hydro yet, and an NG drop, very early NG drop. Where is that going to go? He avoided the scout. I'm not really sure if Blackheart noticed that. Blackheart, meanwhile, also has a transport. So much has happened in the first 5 minutes. This is why I like to watch the top players. You can attempt to emulate them, which is always very difficult. Yeah, great rates by the EF strikers. One issue with getting rated on this map, why such a well-designed map? No, actually, I don't see any Tech 1 raiders. Maybe look at Zock. He's got a single radar here. You can put a radar somewhere in the middle, and it will have huge gaps in it. You really need 2 good-looking raiders on both sides of the map to cover the entire region. Successful drop for Zock on one of the islands. I did see a transport for Blackheart. Oh. There it is. We're going to see a battle for the island. I think Zock's got a significant advantage. 4 engineers already factory down. Only a single factory and only 2 engineers for Blackheart up on top. Zock's just going to walk over Actually, he's going to supplement that engineer with a drop. And drop is going to be readied by Blackheart as well, but he is slightly later than Zock. And it doesn't appear that either player really knows what's going on. I think, yeah, now they're going to definitely find out. Maybe an air fight over the top island could be critical. 4 versus 6 in terms of inties. And if Zock wins this air fight, he will probably shut down this transport. As we see a first major engagement on land, striker on striker numbers for Zock. I gotta say, Zock is looking very good. Is that transport going to make it? Oh, yes, it is. That's unfortunate, but yeah, there's also a striker. Striker return there need to come in, but defensive strikers there as well. I think Blackheart was a little late on both of the islands. This is reminiscent of that point of reach the first game where they played so similarly, but Zock was slightly behind, allowing Blackheart to take one of the islands, which was really led to the demise of Zock in that one. But here, it appears that Zock's going to have both islands, which is an 8 mass extractor shift, which is huge. That's like upgrading 4 of your Tech 1 mass extractors to Tech 2. Let's actually check out the reclaim here. 2600, Blackheart 2400. And a lot of factories are paused for some reason for Zock. Why is he doing that? He's actually got a whole bunch of excess. Is he getting a gun upgrade? Where is his ACU actually? For whatever reason, he's paused everything. Maybe somebody knows, I don't. Blackheart. It's just a Tech 1 land spam. Both players rely on a big Tech 1 land spam, and Blackheart is going to utilize his ACU in the middle. Meanwhile, Zock is retreating, and a good raid. So Blackheart seems to have an advantage, at least for now. This is an offensive drop with a bunch of strikers in the back of Blackheart's base. Blackheart's on a raid successfully takes out a couple of mass extractors, and this is numbers which can sneak into the back, which is completely undefended. There's also very limited engineering, so it'll take a long time for Zock to recover if these tanks can sneak in. So Blackheart, and also together with ACE on 10 kills, completely runs over this force from Blackheart. And Zock here with Tech 2 engineers are going to throw down T1 PDs. Something to note, even though these are Tech 2 engineers, they're making T1 PDs, because in emergency situations, range, it doesn't really matter, and you want to get something as fast as possible, and you want to get as much firepower as possible, but you do want to throw on a single T2 PD to counter any artillery that might be present. But you can look at this force from the White Horse, and it's there's only like 1 arty here, or 2. It's for the most part strikers. As the strikers are just going to go around this middle point, Tech 2 mass extractors under fire. Zock is in a bit of trouble, I would say. He's still got a good economy because the islands, but this is an issue. He's also got to utilize that before it's found out and countered. But Blackheart looking to end this in the first Rivers game, which is kind of sad. I want to see as many River games as possible. I'd love to see it go to 7-7, and then yeah, 7-7 would be nice. But it would take 2 victories for Zock to do that. He really needs to win 3 in a row, and beating Blackheart 3 in a row would be a great feat, almost equal to beating to the feat of beating Zock 4 in a row. See a couple Tech 2 support factories. So one thing about this assault from Blackheart has been all Tech 1, and meanwhile Zock is going to get Tech 2. He's going to be able to supplement his eco with the islands, and he will have a lot of reclaim. Also, Zock's power is very similar to what Blackheart has, so Blackheart was unable to kill this power core inside Zock's base, and Zock now has T2PDs and some pillars. Yeah, he's got pillars on the field to provide some defense. ACU for Zock on 7 kills, also doing some defense. But check out this in the back, total disaster. 6 mass extractors and a hydro denied by Blackheart. And check out the ecos, double in terms of mass production. That's doubling even though you've given up the 2 side islands. remember a long time ago playing a team game 3v3 where I had to face Blackheart from the back spot. That was a really bad game for me. I lost both islands very quickly. So having those islands is a huge economy boost, especially in the 3v3. And 1v1 you can make up for it with these great denials from Blackheart. Yeah, denial and error is the best way to learn anything, or to win a Supreme Commander game. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a successful defensive maneuver from Zock. He's not going to let any tanks sneak by. Overcharges from Blackheart. Blackheart really rushing in. He did have that support shield which died. This is mostly Tech 1, and he's facing on a very strong force. You see all these pillars. Also T2 PDs plus Zock's ACU is going to join the party. T1 PDs, Blackheart, 13,000 health. I think Blackheart has Tech 2. He must have Tech 2, but he doesn't have the gun. He's sitting on 23 kills, losing health rapidly. The pillars for Zock have moved in. And wow, that was a little too dangerous from Blackheart. Blackheart was winning, I think. I think he had a good position in this game, and at the end here, he just sort of ran into a whole bunch of T2 PDs and pillars, and it's only for so long you can take damage. So Zock begins his comeback. This is now 7-6. 2 more games left. Hello and welcome to game 14. This is now 7-6. Quite close. One more game, we got a 7-7 situation, but before that happens, and once again EF on EF, Zock needs to get yet another victory. Let's see if he changes up. Last time we saw third air from both players. Looks like third air from Blackheart once again. And what basically happened last game was Blackheart ran in a little too hard. Probably didn't realize just how good his position was. He did very good denying the mask structures on the mainland for Zock. His base was for the most part, what's the right adjective? Unaccosted, that's kind of what I want to say. Yeah, there's another good word for it. The islands were taken by Zock, and I think they kind of kept them in the game, but they weren't such a big significance that Blackheart was necessarily in a position to run into a bunch of T2VDs with his ACU, which led to what we just saw. But it makes it good for us since this tourney continues. So the problem with winning a whole bunch of games early is you kind of get people rooting against you, because people want to see more games. And yeah, so once this tourney's over, we should have a discussion about what to do with this format. I really like the best of 15 format. Maybe make it a little less, make it something like a monthly tourney to decide like the top player for a certain month on FAF if people are interested. And also we'll attempt to cast a few games from the Voice of Reason tourneys, both U1800 and O1800 from this week. And if there's other casters like Guile or interested in doing that, or Lucian, I'd love to see Lucian cover those. Definitely welcome. Hopefully all the sounds are correct. Seems like the game sound might be a little quiet, but I'm gonna leave it where it is. It could be just that there isn't too much action yet. Yeah, here comes the third air. A little more power, it seems, for Zock, or maybe not. But Zock is just a little later. Yeah, he's gonna get an extra PG in here. Yeah, it's reflected now. There is a bit of a delay. I think this gets updated every 10 seconds or so. And neither player really running after the Hydra. It's a common thing to do. Try to get the Hydra quick, but it is a bit risky if you get raided. Build capacity from the first 2 engineers is critical what you do with it, and if you lose any of it, it is a problem. Looks like an engineer for Zock really wants to get that, because he's got a big posse. He's got 4 strikers moving in that direction. On the other side, we also got 4 strikers. 4 strikers and an engineer, 4 strikers and an engineer. That is the optimal way to play Rivers, according to these 2 players. See a successful scout, multiple scouts from both players. It's just interceptors at this point. Actually, transport. Don't tell me this is going to be a transport. Nope. Interceptors. More transports for... or earlier transport for Blackheart than Zock. That is the first significant difference. Otherwise, it's just, oh yeah, the strikers for Zock are going to deny this engineer. This engineer, meanwhile, for Zock, what is he doing? He's on an attack move, and I guess Zock has way too much mass, and the engineer gets confused. If you fill out your entire eco, the engineer and an attack move won't do anything. That's why sometimes patrol orders could be better. Because right now this engineer, once you've used up some of the mass, should go back and reclaim automatically. Although this striker is probably going to put an end to it. Meanwhile, Zock, this has been a very good squadron of tanks, taking out a whole bunch of units. And the transport now for Zock. Appears that the chance this drop for Blackheart is already successful. And actually in this game it appears that the islands are going to be split. So something's going to have to be different. One thing that is also quite striking, how Zock was pretty quick to go to his expansion. Meanwhile, Blackheart's still in his original position. He's pausing his air. And he's actually got a significant amount of power. He's got 2 engineers on the power spam. And a nice looking raid from Zock. Let's actually check out the number of land factories from both players. Zock sitting on a total of 11 with 5 of them being idle. It's a bit strange. And a total of 7 for Blackheart, so a big number advantage. These 7 were just here. There's another 2. Yeah, another 2 here for Zock. But it doesn't look like the islands will be much of a battle. And point defenses, you can see both players utilizing point defenses, try to hold on to their expansion. So this might lead to a longer game. The name of the game is defense. Usually Percy's well decided, and this is interesting. An attempt from Zock to take the top island. He's got air control over it. He's got a bunch of engineers, actually 5 engineers. He got a point defense. This will make Blackheart's life difficult. He needs to get some artillery. And a striker force from Blackheart denying a few mass extractors. But in terms of ecos, a slight advantage to Blackheart. I guess these 2 mass extractors is a significant portion of that difference. Now it's about a 10. Actually, it continues to climb up. What are the mass extractor counts here? Minute 8 in terms of Tech 1 mass extractors. We got 26 for Blackheart. Zock is at 26. Alright, well, those are very similar numbers. And this battle, wow, Zock, I thought this was a foregone conclusion, however it isn't. Zock has a total of 5 land factories planned. He's got strikers and arties. They're going to be dispatched to try to assassinate these arties, but the point defense is down, which is going to be a problem for Zock. This could be a nice mass donation from Zock to Blackheart. This is why any one of these endeavors, oh, as I see a couple strikers here try to take on the point defense, you got to take into account that if you fail, you don't just fail, you leave a whole bunch of mass to the enemy. That has to be part of your calculation. A T2 engineer in the middle, making a T2 PD. And otherwise, this game is a lot more static than the previous one. Zock has to be feeling the pressure of being against the wall, although he has been against the wall for, I guess, the last game. So this is not too new for him. Also, once again, a lot of paused factories for Zock. He did that last game. What is he doing? He's just sort of building up his eco, and it's not clear to me what he's upgrading. Is he just upgrading mass extractors, or what is he doing? He is upgrading mass extractors, but he's definitely not using as much as he has. He's now unpaused a couple. He's got a Tech 2 factory making Tech 2 engineers, and on his radar he's got this assault force. This right here could be interesting. Cruise missile launcher is being built up by Zock in the middle. This is a very good position to have. You can get a couple of shields in here. Tech 2 radar is very good looking in that position. And Tech 2 land from both players. We haven't seen Tech 2 air at all yet on road. Perhaps we will. It's a smaller map, so it's much more difficult to utilize Tech 2 gunships, although they're still very good for sniping and for raiding. Definitely force the other player to invest in flag. A lot of support factories now for Zock, and it looks like he's paused Tech 1 completely. His only factories that are producing are air and Tech 2, either HQ or support. This pillar doing a good job running away from a bunch of Tech 1, killing. You can see how many shots it takes, and it is 2 shells, and sometimes one of them misses. There's a lot of detail in the weapons in this game. It's not just one unit kills this with this much health remaining. Zock on 0 kills next to a couple of T2 PDs, and this force now from Blackheart looking quite menacing, and a lot of pillars from Blackheart as he's sitting on a Tech 2 engineering upgrade on the ACU. Cruise missile launcher is completed for Zock. That is one of the weaknesses of UEF, is that they have TMD, which is absolute garbage. And there are some really good looking targets. T2 mask extractors, T2 power, also T2 point defenses are good targets right before an assault. But you don't want to shoot those unless you're going to go on assault. And here comes the first missile from Zock. Zock is significantly behind on the economy. It appears that, oh wow, look at all those Tech 2 mask extractors. Here comes the first missile. Tech 2 power is taken out. That will even out the pilots. Look at the effect. That's devastating. That's absolutely devastating. But what will save Blackheart is the fact that he's nearly finished with another T2 PGen. And TMD going up. He needs to get that TMD ASAP. Multiple TMDs going up. Is there going to be another missile? Zock taking a long time on that missile, but these power problems continues. And just that single missile, you can see how much of an effect it can have. And looks like it's taking too long for Zock to build up the second one. And the opportunity is going to be gone. There's a couple of really nice Tech 2 mask extractors. This is why one of the reasons to wait to launch your missiles until you have a couple missiles in the clip. And here come Tech 2 gunships. Blackheart's ACU is going to put up a Tech 2 radar. Here comes the second missile, but the TMD is already in place. And this is not an ACU missile, so even the UEF TMD will be able to take care of it. Here comes the HQ, Tech 3 HQ, and Tech 2 power for Zock as well. So Tech 3 land is going to be a little earlier for Blackheart, and Tech 2 mask extractor counts between these two players. We see a total of 7 for Blackheart. Zock sitting on actually a similar number. He's sitting on 8. So actually, in terms of the economies, I think that single missile really evened things out between these two players. The difference being now this nearly completed Tech 3, and once you start seeing Percy's, that's going to make things a lot more difficult because... Well, welcome back. I had to take a small break here. Zock sitting next to Team D. He had this cruise missile launcher, which is now loaded. Perhaps missed a couple opportunities. But all we do see is the nearly complete Tech 3 land. Also very good defensive position from Blackheart in the middle and his gunship. So really all the advantages are in, well, except now I'm seeing the mass advantage. A slight eco advantage. A little more eco now for Zock, but everything else is in Blackheart's favor. Also now the power, you can see Blackheart continues to get more and more T2 PGens. And first unit is a Tech 3 engineer. Are we going to see a T3 PD creep here? I know that T2 Arctic creep on this map has been done by Zock before. By those not as good as him, but I don't know if he'll be able to pull it off against Blackheart. But this is very curious. Multiple T3 engineers. Yes, and a Percy. This is the unit I expected to see, but yeah, Blackheart has some other ideas. Let's see what he does. Zock's ACU relatively up front. He does have Tech 2 engineering on it, but once you have Percy's on the field, you probably want to take that back home somewhere. Horse eating some trees. Yeah, maybe the BC clan can explain. Oh, yes. This is what you have to do. Once you take an island, you gotta put up a cruise missile launcher there. Abuse the NG mod. Yep, if they allow you to put a cheap T2 factory up on an island in such a good position, you gotta do it. And there goes the texture mask structures. There goes the advantage of Zock, who did not put up a T2 BD. This is why, even if you're low, you're gonna have to put up some TMD in this position. So both players exchanging TMDs, but it's a lot more devastating from Blackheart. Yeah, and Zock's still up ahead. Still not working on a Tech 3 land factory, which is crazy. Does he know? He has to know. Yeah, he knows if he's paying attention, which Zock has to be. Although now he might be busy trying to get up some TMD. He needs to get Tech 2 engineers here ASAP. He lost 2 Tech 2 mass tractors, another missile up in the air, and this is likely going to be 3. So in terms of the cruise missile battle, 1 T2 PGen versus 3 Tech 2 mass tractors. And that T2 PGen was quite devastating, so I don't really know which strike is more painful. As Blackheart now begins, so what did he do with his Tech 3 engineers? He is working on, at least one of them is working on a Tech 3 power, so Tech 3 air could be in the cards. What is the other one doing? Can anybody see it? It's over here doing weird things. I'm not sure. So we'll let that mystery go into eternity there. Tech 2 engineer, and it looks like, yeah, this Raider's paused just to get a little more power. And once we see this Tech 3 PGen, well, you can see exactly what he's doing. He's got an HQ factory T2. He's gonna rush Tech 3 air. He's gonna try to surprise Zock, and it's kind of strange to do. I think he could have won this just with Tech 3 land, but perhaps he's thinking one step ahead. He's going to, well, he's definitely not faking Tech 3 land, not with this much build capacity on it. He's got Tech 3 mobile missile launchers, got Perseus next to his ACU. He could have spammed it a lot harder. Instead of all this, he could have made like 10 more Perseus and just ran something over, or some Tech 3 arty. But instead, he's going to go very strongly toward Tech 3 air. Is that the right move? And because of his volley of cruise missiles, notice how he's reclaimed his launcher. Did Zock reclaim his launcher? No, he's got 8 missiles. So he's invested multiple thousand of mass into that little unit, which hasn't really paid back much recently. And Zock now, with power problems. Why does he have power problems? He's trying to get Tech 2 power in a fairly poor position. Overall, I gotta say, Zock, Blackheart seems to be much more organized. And if there's one way to describe the Blackheart's gameplay, oh, look at that. Tech 3 mobile missile launcher. Yeah, there's Tech 2 already. Is that Blackheart is extremely organized. Is the epitome of German gameplay. Even more organized than Zock. Arguably the best German player ever to play this game, but on rivers, organization is quite critical. Because space is limited, how you distribute. And you can see recycling of Tech 3 power, Tech 2 power. And what is this? No, this is just Janus bombers, so we don't see Tech 3 air yet. We do see Janus bombers as we're beginning to see arty. Yeah, this is the Tech 3 arty from Blackheart, assaulting Zock's position. And we'll see if this Tech 2 stationary, look at these, this is one of the most beautiful units. Where is Guile? He needs to be seeing this. I'd love to see Guile actually recast, make a recast of all the UEF dominant games from this journey. I think it would really suit him nicely, and I'm sure his viewers would love to see this. As we see Tech 2 Angie's getting hit by arty. Yeah, I think the best game so far in this tourney was Game 5, the UEF on UEF, and Game 4 was a really nice demonstration of the power of UEF, and Niflheim games were great demonstrations of UEF. Oh, look at that, that's the power of Tech 2 stationary arty. Those Tech 3 mobiles just got sniped. This is great work. It's a very expensive unit. Actually one of the best designs in the games, I think. It's a unit you definitely want to build whether or not it's going to do something for you. More often than not it's a waste of mass, but here it actually looks pretty good. I'd love to see it try to hit these, because they are not shielded, and this already can easily hit it if it targets it. Be a lot better than hitting the shield. And what else is happening here? We see T3 power spam as Blackheart is really running up ahead. And seeing all this Aeons and Seraphims recently, typically the push toward Tech 3 Air involves resource allocations. Once you play with EF and Cybern, you gotta make these a lot more often, and this right here would be a beautiful target. I think if oh man, I don't know if this is worth it. You can see the advantage. Instead of 250 power, Blackheart is gaining an extra 234 power, but a couple missiles here, or a couple bombers, and that entire T3 Pigeon's dead. And actually with this much firepower from those energy storage, that might actually take out the wreck as well. I think he might be targeting those mobile missile launchers. They'll give them cold feet, they're gonna move, but they will take out a shield in the meantime. Percy spam. Oh, look at all those support factories. So Zock has switched to Percy spam, and what we're seeing is Arty on Arty battles, and this is where shields and stealth, things like that, play a critical role. Air Force plays a critical role, and we are seeing Tech 3 scouts from Blackheart. So he's shown his card of Tech 3 Air. He is making ASF, so he's planning on taking over air, and here comes the Tech to drop. Oh, and this is going to be horrible. Oh, Zock had such a great plan for those Percys, but that's unfortunate. Nice try from Zock, but unable to do so. I think those Tech 3 scouts probably gave Blackheart an early warning. One thing that Zock shouldn't forget, he's got 12 cruise missiles loaded up, so if he were to snipe a couple TMDs, he could create quite a bit of havoc inside of Blackheart's base. You can see the range on this unit is very significant. All these units are possible targets, so something like Tech 2 bombers, or if there's a battle. And what is this, a fatty? Oh man, this has been the slowest game of the tourney, I gotta say. It's just been a lot of teching. I thought Rivers was more exciting. I mean, we did see a little bit of Arty on Arty battles, but what we've basically seen is Blackheart taking advantage. He had a better luck with cruise missiles, and I think that made the difference. Otherwise, I think Zock would have run away with the Ika, and we're gonna see an air fight. Zock does not have Tech 3 Air, so together with this Tech 1 on Tech 1, there's a bunch of ASFs from Blackheart. Actually, want to see how many kills those get. You can see what. Oh wow! What a great drop! A drop on a Continental. That's flying in style. Total air domination. And I think Zock's about to start losing map control. He's certainly going to lose all the units here. No way he can stop 3 or 4 Percys. And I anticipate a drop of engineers. Where's that Continental? The Continental. Yes, and I completely forgot. Cruisers on this map from UEF or Seraphim. Absolutely deadly. Looks like they have been found out. Zock was working on a Tech 2 naval factory. But Zock is going to lose multiple Tech 2 mass extractors. And that's going to make this gap between Blackheart and look at that fatty, how quickly Blackheart's making it. Yeah, Blackheart showing that he's very good on land maps as well. Yeah. You can see Zock is way behind the times. He's got Tech 3 on his ACU, he's got Tech 3 onto air, and he's gonna try to make Tech 2 artillery. Not the safest play. I think this fatty is gonna laugh. Although in numbers Tech 3 Arty is quite good, but this Tech 2 Arty is not even built yet. So this fatty could be the game ender in the game of the tourney that has had the lowest amount of action. Well, maybe game 3, which I didn't even cast, where it was just such a brutal beatdown. There's a lot of depression on one side, and here comes the fatty.
The arties for Zock, this other arty with 9 kills, has looked good, but I mean, did it have a very good impact? This Continental needs to grab some engineers. You need to get on this island and get like 5,000, 6,000 free reclaim. Yeah, this fatty is going to be very demoralizing for Zock. Together with the fatty, there's a huge force of engineers. Second fatty started, Tech 3 onto air. Zock has no weapons. Zock has nothing. He's way behind on power. He's lost his island. I think this Continental is not grabbing engineers because it's waiting for these forces to kill off everything on the island so they can load up on the Continental, continue doing damage on the mainland. And there it is. This is a big investment. Zock's gonna try to save it with some shields, but he won't. And we all know what that means. This is the end. This is the end. There are some Perseus in Zock's force, but he's got nothing that could stop the fatty. He would need a lot of Janus bombers or something along those lines. He could use a battery of cruise missile launchers maybe. He would need a mistake from the fatty, but if Blackheart's methodical here, he has the game won. Because, I mean, you could try to rush up to it. If you were Aeon, for example, and you had a big advantage of Harbies, you can run up to the fatty and get underneath the shield and kill it. But you can't do that with Percy, which is extremely slow. What will Blackheart do? He will attempt to recover. He just went back. He's going to put up a couple more shields. And in the back here, yeah, you can see the cruise missile battery will be the attempt for Zock to snipe the fatty. Meanwhile, the fatty very methodically, as long as the fatty keeps on dodging. I would actually love to see Blackheart move up here, maybe put up a couple shields on it and maybe some TMD. And he's already more than halfway done with the second fatty, so even if the first one gets sniped with a little bit of luck. And what is Zock doing? It looks like he's got the gun, so he's going to fight it out at the end. Yeah, this battery is getting loaded up. And actually, would it be possible, because Blackheart's ACU is so far up ahead? Yeah, that could snipe Blackheart's ACU.
Under attack.
If Blackheart is not paying attention, he could be in danger. This is one of the reasons to keep your ACU back away from the missile range. I'd like to point out just the unit control, the methodical micro fatty. And in front of the fatty, you got a whole bunch of Tech 3 and Tech 2 waiting to take any kind of assault. Just basic stuff that people don't do, which makes you so much more potent. So we're going to see some volleys. And here it is. These were the units that took care of the island. They're now on the mainland. Some Percy's dispatched to play some defense. Still major losses. And now you can see the gap in mass has really grown nearly to 100. Percy's through the middle. And now this Percy advantage is so huge, I don't think that Zock can do anything, even if he snipes the fatty. Here comes the first volley. And the question is, oh yes it is. Yes it is. Is that enough? Does Blackheart? No, yeah, he's got to move out of the way. This is why he's one of the best players. He does not get sniped. To get sniped, you need to not pay attention. And let's see if those missiles would have made it. I would have taken the second volley. There was plenty of shields here. And Zock, seeing that the snipe was unsuccessful, concedes. And I'd like to declare Blackheart the winner of this first best of 15. Hopefully more in the future. Over Zock. And I think we can call Blackheart the top player in FAF for a little while. Although it wasn't as devastating as it could have been after the first four games. Hopefully people enjoy this one.